We join two gentlemen who are discussing various topics. One of them is a D mentality, and the other is an I mentality. If you know Leonard Peikoff's DIM hypothesis, D-I-M. D stands for disintegration. They want to scatter everything, nothing's related. M misintegrates things. They do want to integrate things, but they use a false context like religion or some arbitrary whim or their emotions. They do integrate, but they integrate based on the wrong thing. They don't integrate objectively. And then the I person is the person in the middle. They integrate objectively. They're the only ones who look at reality in order to put their thoughts in order. I say that we should do away with tariffs. They are bad for international trade. Tariffs? Which tariffs? Some tariffs are good. What do you mean all tariffs are bad? All tariffs are bad in principle. There's no such thing as a good tariff. There's no reason to ever charge anybody any money to bring a good or a service into another country. Well, that's ridiculous. I mean, maybe this type of tariff is good or that type of tariff is bad, but you can't say all tariffs across the board ever done anywhere are bad. How can you say that? You can't. You're overgeneralizing. You're oversimplifying. You're being simplistic. I think that if we sent some spacecraft to land on Venus or Mars, things would probably work out just the way they do on Earth. As far as we can see, there's gravity there. There's gravity coming from the Sun, holding all of your planets in orbit. Seems to be gravity in all the other galaxies that we look at in the stars. What do you mean? You haven't been to those other stars. You've never even been off the planet Earth. How do you know that gravity works the same there that it does here? There could be different gravitational rates for different planets. How do you know? You haven't been there. Oversimplifying. We should put all murderers in jail. A murderer I define as someone who purposefully commits an act of violence, not in self-defense, but an act of violence, an act of aggression. So you're just going to judge everybody across the board. You don't think there's ever anybody who murders somebody else who maybe should get away with it? That's correct. By definition, no one should get away with murder. It's an act of aggression, an act of violence that costs someone their life. The person who takes a life forfeits their own. You're oversimplifying. You can't just make a blanket statement like that. You have to look at each case individually. There's no way for you to just make a big blanket statement, all murderers are bad, just because he initiates force, he's given up his own rights. That's a blanket statement. You're being simplistic. Immanuel Kant's philosophy is evil. It's evil from beginning to end. The basic premises of his philosophy, the fact that he wanted to save the ethics of self-sacrifice, and his epistemological basis that he tried to do that on, corrupt everything in his system. You mean he didn't have one statement anywhere in his whole system that was true or right or good? You might be able to pick out a single sentence, but in principle he would be opposed to anything that's objectively good because he believes man is a radically evil creature, inconsistency on his part notwithstanding. Well, you can't say his whole philosophy is evil then. If he had some idea or some statement somewhere that wasn't totally corrupt and evil, then you have to say he was at least somewhat good. You can't just condemn his entire philosophy. And how do you know that everything he says in there has evil implications? You're oversimplifying. You're just making this blanket statement against his whole philosophy. No, sir, I'm not oversimplifying. I am speaking on principle. Now, on principle, gravitation works everywhere in the universe. Tariffs are bad. People who initiate murder and physical force against others are bad. How many more examples can we come up with? Oversimplification is a modern catchphrase for let's not think in principle, let's not think too hard, let's not draw any conclusions. That's what oversimplification means.